Hi everybody, I'm back again. Um, Twitch, I I finally well, fingers crossed. I have a different setup. Hopefully it's more stable. Um, we're trying. It's a better setup. It should there shouldn't be any bouncing down and like that because you guys deserve it. You guys deserve to have a stream where it's not like all over the place. You just have like a slightly different view. I'm gonna tinker with it a bit for like adjustability as to what you're seeing, but this I feel better about this, marginally better. In an ideal world, I would have two cameras, one for one for Twitch, one for YouTube. I would have to figure that stuff out, and I'm not there yet. Plus, I am still a small little channel, just a little baby channel with a few people here and there. And for those of you who do tune in, I really do appreciate it every night that you come in, or if you're just swinging by and you're like, huh, what's she talking about tonight? I appreciate it, so thank you everybody. Means a lot. um yeah, so for those of you, if it's your first night tonight, welcome. My name is Beth Wagner, and I am currently reading my dad's novels. Now, this isn't what I always do on all my streams, but tonight and for like the rest of until the end of next week, it works out perfectly because I'm currently on chapter 21, and I'll be ending off. Now, technically, what I'm probably going to end up doing is I'll probably just run chapters 26 and chapters 27 together because chapter 27 is basically one page. So I'm probably going to put those two together. And then Friday night, I might have a wrap up session where I'm kind of going over what I think about the whole entire story overall and what I'm going to be doing with it after that. Um, then after that, I'm going to be taking a bit of a break while I like finally get the story out. Um, I might read some other stories because it's worth it. I can like read stories a bunch of times, reread old stories, that sort of thing too. There's still a bunch that I haven't even read yet. Like I might start getting into reading The Guardian of the Sword and other Aventure stories because I haven't read any. I've read Guardian of the Sword, and I think I read Crystal Crown. But there's so much more, and I can certainly do many more read. Like there's all the stories to read, including like going over some of the lore about it and stuff like that. So I might do that in future broadcasts. But I do know that after this, I'm probably gonna be taking like after next week, I am gonna take a break. Part of that will also be because um, I'm getting ready for conventions and stuff like that. So I probably will need to have time to focus on that. Um, in an ideal world, what would have happened is I would have been ready for my actual play. However, I'm not there yet, so that's probably not going to happen until I'm going to say probably like until much later. I still am nowhere near getting done because I still have to get all the minis prepped for that. Um, we'll see, but that's stuff I should be talking about on next Friday, not tomorrow, a week from tomorrow. I still have a bunch of chapters left to go. Well, not a bunch, but like a few chapters. So, without further ado, I'm going to read chapter 21 of A Sword in the Rose. Um, where we left off. Oh boy, my brain. I think I'm also at the point where I didn't. Yeah, I just like very disappointing. I didn't do breakdowns after chapter 20. Well, it says 19 and 20. And I didn't bother doing 20. I think it's because I was trying to force myself through them so fast that I was just getting exhausted. Um, so let's see here. Let me take a look here. Chapter 20. So yeah, basically, so the chief priest gets punished for stirring up a rebellion and trying to kill Gwalsor. Um, we go back to the bandits and like stirring tensions between the wizard and also um, and Tosteg. And let's see here, it's basically kind of like a calming period. Yeah. Then they catch the priest trying to. Oh yeah, and when they end off, this is where it gets kind of, yeah. So we end off with Gwalsor in the woods chasing after something a glimpse of black to draw him on. So he's trying to chase this darkened thing in the forest, and that's where we leave off. Dun dun dun. Okay, so now, chapter 21, we resume. Tosteg was startled to see the Baron come trotting into the camp, a faraway look on his face. He grabbed for his axe, looking around for who would be following the Lord. "Haul him off his horse!" shouted Slavenhenge. "Quickly, don't worry, he won't hurt you." Manic was there quickly, pulling the Baron down with a thump and falling on him with a dagger out. "Stop!" Henge's voice seemed to cause them all to pause. Tosteg wasn't altogether sure that it was only the command and not some spell at work. "Don't hurt him, I have uses for him." Manic stood up from the Baron's apparently unconscious form. "What be you wanting with him?" Tosteg demanded What you be wanting with him? Demanded Tosteg. Hinge turned a sly glance his way. "Ah, I lost much back there, including precious knowledge of what makes up the human body, how it works, and so on. It's only fair that this Baron should help me recover some of what was lost." "You be meanin'?" "He will serve me as did that peasant. He, however, will be alive and aware at all times, knowing just what is being done to him. A fitting punishment. A fitting punishment, I think. But there are a few plants I must gather to make proper charm for one living, as opposed to one no longer living. Please do not go too far from the camp while I am gone." He smiled wickedly. And that was supposed to be wickedly. My words. Last night, Sadin, one of the bandits, had attempted to slip away while everyone was sleeping. The first they knew of it, there was a loud shriek. When they scrambled to their feet, weapons in hand, they found Sadin lying dead, his face twisted as though he'd seen something fearful. Slavlan Hange had not even stirred in his sleep, but the message was clear to the bandits. "Yes, we'll be here. And what we be doing when all his men come looking for your Baron? Be you thinking of that?" But Hange was truly mad now, and they were all caught up in his madness. And all that could be done was to wait for whatever chance they might spy. He wandered over to Manic. "You be hearing that, man?" "I be. And a right good notion, I think. One of 'em dare getting a bit of what they deserve. Let 'em be pushing here and there. Never saying the matter." It occurred to Tostig that Manic was only a step or two less insane than the wizard. "Bozzers, boots and breeches, what I be doing now?" Forth rode behind Malgathup through the brush. There was no telling why Malgatha took this trail rather than that, but he seemed to be following something, whether it was a scent or just a feeling. After some time riding, they came upon Jadal, who was in some distress. Seeing them, the boy cried out, "Lord Malgatha, the Lord Baron's gone, riding off. I couldn't keep up with him, and I've been trying to follow him, but it's hard." Malgatha nodded. "Magic in air. I cannot say for sure if something in magic call him out, but for some serious certain trap back there. And smell of magic goes stronger if we go this way. Come on then." Tostig watched the wizard making his preparations and came to a decision. Standing, he tightened his grip on his axe. He had just taken his first step when he came up against Manic, facing him, blocking his way. "Come on, man. No human being deserving this. But he be no human being, Toss. He be a dar. He be one of them, but Toss." Manic quieted a bit. "You know, Toss, we've been having words before. This time you push it. We be having more than words." Tostig looked him in the eyes. "So that be the way of it then, man?" He shrugged and began to turn away, as though backing down. Then he whirled back suddenly, swinging his axe up in a backhand blow that caught Manic under the ribs, smashing him bloodily backward. Tostig then set his feet and flung his axe straight into the broad back of the old wizard. He doubted if he dared try that a while ago, when the old stinker was more sane, but Hansch was concentrating on weaving spells around the Baron. The axe hit. Hansch's back arched, his arms flew wide, and power coruscated around him. Tostig automatically flung up an arm across his face, but it was all over in a moment. Hansch had been driven forward to fall across the Baron's chest. Tostig went over, put a hand to the axe, and pulled it out of the wizard's back. The handle was warm to the touch, and the blade radiated heat. The blood on the blade dried as he watched. He grimaced at that, then pulled the wizard's body off the Baron and looked down at the boy. At the man. Gwalsor is the man. The young Baron was lying there, pale and still, but still breathing. A moment later, a hand twitched. Tostig nodded, then looked around. The other men with them were standing. The other man with them was standing, but keeping his hands far from his weapons. Phallic, the one hand to put the spell on, was thrashing in spasms on the ground, and Tostig wondered if he would recover. The old bandit chief took a deep breath. Choices and chances, Tostig. Choices and chances. Oft times a war axe can untangle a knot, but she bent a neat answer. Phallic suddenly quieted into deathly immobility. "Well, that be another dead one. Were he alive at all anymore?" The Baron's eyes flew suddenly wide, and he began to move slowly, heavily, as though something was still holding him down. "Maybe 'tweren't for nothing, then," muttered Tostig. He spoke to the Baron. "Don't you be pushing yourself too hard, Baron. You look to be coming along all right." Gwalsor's mouth worked. Then he croaked. "You!" His voice died off in an unintelligible whisper. Tostig went on and got a water bag, and then came back and held the boy. Why is he calling him a boy? He's not a boy. He's like, he might be a young Baron, but he's not that young. Jadal is young. Okay. And held the Baron up while he drank a bit. The Baron looked at him and said, "You're one of them." Tostig shrugged. Happen I were, I suppose. Some things I've been able to soul, though. You feeling a bit better? A little better? You killed the wizard? I did that. Tostig's eye fell on Manic's corpse. I killed a friend for you too, Baron. Though I don't suppose that being much meaning much to you. All the same, I saw a lot and heard more, the Baron said. I'll see to it you don't lose for this. Not more in my head anyway, I suppose. But Tostig was wondering whether he might talk himself into some kind of reward. 3 horses came galloping into the clearing. Tostig realized then how thoroughly he'd been involved in the situation. Other times he'd have heard the horses long ago. The olive-skinned rider's expression didn't change, but his sword, one free of this one free from the scabbard. The Baron hauled himself in a series of jerks to his feet, still shaky, drew himself erect. Look so ya, Malga. No one here but friends. Friends, Lord? Seems serious fatal for gathering of friends. The Baron's face was pale, but he smiled. Yes, it's a bit fatal for some. I'll explain it, but first there are some things to be taken care of. Jadal, ride back and have some men sent out here to bury bodies. While you're at it, have have them send a couple of spare horses as well. Yes, my Lord Baron. Wellsor looked back at the others. There was a trap laid somewhere along the trail. I rode into it. He shook his head to clear it. I don't remember a thing. Just suddenly I was here, tied up. The old wizard started saying his spells over me, telling me between times that he would have his vengeance on me, though he never did say what his vengeance was for. Tostig cleared his throat. "'Twere that wooden man of his, Yehor, he called it. 'Twere very important to him. He studying life, he said. 'Ow men were made, 'ow their bodies worked, that sort of thing. I ain't altogether sure, but I think are open to learn how to make a human being.' Wellsor nodded. He was muttering things of that sort, about how much he'd be able to learn from me, but I didn't know what he meant by that. Tostig nodded. 'Twere real important to him, and he'd been at it for a long time. Those peasants we took, 2 of them escaped, and one of them were brought back dead. Before I could arrange to bury him, Hanshig had taken him, and were using him for his studies. He made a gesture toward one of the bodies. I be figuring you were using Balak that way too. Balak, he got drunk and took a swing at Yahor, and the spells on the wooden man knocked him cold. When he came to, Balak went after the wizard himself, and Hench spelled him over and took charge of him. We was using him, but he was using us. But he was using us too, and right up to the end. I feared to try to do anything. Don't think I'd be daring to do anything if he hadn't been losing his mind and forgetting everything about his revenge. My Lord Baron, said Forraith, with extreme formality, may I speak to you privately for a moment? The 2 of them went a little way off, and the Marshal spoke. Lord, will you not have us bind that bandit? No, he saved my life. Even so, Lord, do you know who he is? He is the head of that bunch that was in Lussmore. Wellstar nodded. Yes, I know that, but he's owed something for saving my life. Or do you hold my life as having no value? He grinned. No, not at all. No, not at all, Lord, Forsyth protested. But you won't be trusting him, surely. The man's no more than a brigand, but a brigand who saved my life. Wellstar's expression hardened. I'd say that earns him a bit of trust, whatever he may be, or whatever he may have been. Salder's tears, Forsyth. I've been I've spent all morning condemning men for things they've said or done thoughtlessly. Will you grudge me the forgiving of one man because he's done a deed on my behalf? I don't be liking it at all, Lord. No, nor do I expect you to do so. But give him a little time before you leap on him with the sword and beard. Can you do that much? Yes, I imagine so, answered Forth. His expression said clearly that Tostig had better mind his behavior. They then rejoined the others. Gwalsor noticed that the other bandit was gone. Probably heard Malga and Forth coming, and without fear of the wizard to keep him, had slipped off into the brush. That was for the best, he figured. He could extend his forgiveness to Tostig, but he might have a harder time extending it to a man who'd done nothing to deserve it. And Tostig might feel some kind of loyalty to a man who served under him, sufficiently to make the whole situation a good deal more uncomfortable. After they all had stood around uneasily for a bit, Gwalsor spoke. Shall we go on back toward the castle and meet my men on the way? That was agreed, and they all started out. Tostig walked beside Gwalsor, and as they went, he spoke quietly. The old one there. He don't be liking me a lot, do he? No, he doesn't. And he won't be the only one. Can you put up with that sort of thing for a while? I be expecting I could. You don't be thinking of me as no knight with the iron suit and all that, do you? I hadn't thought much beyond keeping you alive, Tostig. Would you like to be a knight? Tostig shrugged. I be reckoning I could be well nigh whatever you be wanting. But you'll be knowing there'll be plenty beyond our old fellow there'll be mindin', so long as I don't be hung. That they will. But Forth himself is common born, and an under captain of the castle guard, whom I knighted and placed in that position because he showed ability. Tossig gave a short bark of laughter. And what ability be I showing, Lord? Save the ability to fling an axe into a wizard's back, and at short range, too. Gwelser grinned in return. You led a band of outlaws, made them a serious nuisance to me, and if you can manage that sort of men, I'd say you'd be quite useful to me. You've heard there's been an uprising against me, no? Well, they took advantage of my being away in the swamp, and it was a close thing, but I'm left with some holdings to fill, and few enough trusted men to be able to fill them. And you be wanting the like of me in one of them places? With likely people around us feeling that they've been having a better claim? Lord, you be having another uprising next spring. Gwalsor frowned. There is something to what you say, for certain. Suppose I keep you with me for a time as one of my personal followers. In a year or two, it might change that, or you might learn to like the iron suit. He grinned again. So that one was, I kind of, how do I feel about it? A little short. I kind of feel like there should have been more battle with the wizard, but however it was hinged. However, I am a little bit. I think if Henge wasn't completely, um, if he was, if he wasn't completely, distracted, he would have completely trounced everybody because he is just that powerful. Would have been interesting to see what he did, but I don't think they would have had like the strength or wherewithal to be able to like beat him. So it's a tough one. So I think having him get caught off guard is kind of the best option at this one. But yeah, so I don't know. It one's okay. I have to sit on it and think about it a bit. Yeah, I mean, even at the beginning of the chapter, it says this chapter may need to be rewritten. And I might just like write it from literally just rewrite it from the beginning of the chapter and just write it through, and then add bits as I need to it. We'll see, because I have like so much other stuff that's coming in as well. So it's gonna be hard to simply just the chapter may not stay likely won't stay the same anyway. And it might just have different parts in it, other POVs in it as well. Who knows? But yeah. So I guess that's everything for tonight. I really do appreciate everyone tuning in again. Um, yeah. And like I said, tomorrow night I'll be reading chapter 22, and then I'll be going into the home stretch next week. So, everybody, I'll talk to you all again tomorrow night. Night.